So, hi everyone. For those, are the slides up? Yeah. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the head of Reg Science and Crop Science R&D, and at the same time, I'm the R&D leadership team sponsor of the LifeHub, which Raphael and I are going to present to you today. And I don't know how to follow up on that inspiring presentation that Kathy just gave. I think it was fantastic, and you were actually speaking about one of my favorite snacks. I always have tomatoes at home, and I eat them all the time. And thanks also a lot for that quote on food is healthcare. I mean, that's just perfect. It's actually what I believe and what the value of modern agriculture can bring to all of us. And then now, full disclosure, this is not going to be a scientific presentation. While still being a scientist at heart, you can lean back. There's nothing complicated to digest now. It's just a big pleasure, I think, for both of us, Raphael and me, to basically kick off the LifeHub Monheim officially at such a great event with cool science and in front of such a great audience. And I've always been a big supporter of the Science Fellows, so I'm really happy, actually. And I feel a bit intimidated to speak only in front of fellows. So probably the only two fellows or real scientists in this audience are Raphael and me. So don't ask us too many complicated questions. So let's give it a start. What I'm gonna do, if this works. I should press the right button. That also works. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to kick us off and provide a little bit of the strategic context of our business and why innovation is important and how we drive that, and then hand over to Raphael, who will actually present us the details of the LifeHub Monheim that we're officially kicking off today. So my favorite statement, you've all read that you've learned information which you shouldn't disclose to the stock market. So now let's go to the actual important slide to kick us off here and provide some context. So crop science colleagues, bear with me. You've heard this story 10 million times. You know that. But we have other people in the audience who are maybe less familiar with the global trends in agriculture. And right now, I think agriculture is one of the most fascinating and most exciting businesses to actually work in. There's so much changing right now in agriculture from a commercial perspective, from a political perspective, we've heard that earlier from Dirk, from a societal pressure, societal acceptance perspective, and from a technological change perspective. You see some of the trends here on this slide, which are about increasing use of data science, generating new insights, both in R&D as well as new digital business models. We see precision application technology, and we see a very, very strong trend for sustainability, consumer acceptance, and critical questions coming from consumers, which all drive innovation for us and the change of our business models that we're working on within ag. And we're doing this, I hope most of you know it, I think with the best and also the largest R&D organization in our industry, where we operate at critical scale across all our technologies, being it chemical crop protection, biological crop protection, seeds, genetics, and plant biotechnology. And all of that combined with digital tools, digital advice, digital farming practices, and where we try to build the so-called tailored solutions. And I'll show an example for that in a second. Now, but while doing that and while driving R&D and looking for new innovations and new solutions for farmers that are hopefully also accepted by society, it is increasingly important, this is a topic which is close to my heart, that we actually do this in a very transparent way and in open dialogue with society. And Dirk mentioned it earlier, not all policy making is always science-driven, but we have to stand. We have to stand behind science, and all what we do also in dialogue has to be based on science. If we give up science, we give up everything, basically. That's my strong conviction, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here in front of this audience. But at the same time, as you all know, we get a lot of critical questions from society. What are you doing in this industry? You're not transparent enough. You're changing the world by producing edited food, and so on and so on and so on. We all know these arguments. And for us, therefore, it's very important that we as industry leader and as R&D leader in this industry are also the thought leader when it comes to transparency and sustainability. And this is exactly what we're trying to do, and we're trying to foster that science-based dialogue and being very open and acknowledging the criticism and the questions that we get from people who criticize us. It all starts with acknowledging and not with saying, but we know better. No, we don't know better. Yeah? It's about finding common ground in discussions. And one of the examples here, we took the industry, actually the whole industry and regulation by surprise a few years ago when we started our transparency initiative, and we basically publicly disclosed all of our crop protection and now also over time our biotechnology study reports that end up in our dossiers to say, look, this is what we're doing. And at the same time, we're inviting our scientists, we're inviting the public and critical NGO stakeholders and others into our labs, and we actually show them what we're doing and being transparent in dialogue. You might wonder why I'm talking about all of this. This is also one of the pillars, and Rafael will go back later on, which I think is why it's so crucial to have a LifeHub for science-based dialogue. And at the same time, probably most of you have heard about sustainability commitments that we've given ourselves in this company. And for us, sustainability is not an afterthought or greenwashing or corporate social responsibility or something like that. It's integral part of how we do business. And this is why we've given us very tangible, measurable goals until 2030. And you see those 30, 30, 100 goals here. One is the reduction of field-produced greenhouse gases by 30%. The other is reducing the environmental impact that crop protection has on agriculture, and they're reaching the goal of having at least one access and providing products to at least 100 million smallholder farmers in this world. So for me, very important sustainability commitments which actually drive our business and are integral part of our business. And now just to say that when we talk about tailored solutions, this is not just some dream, this is actually reality. And you see one example here without going into the details. This is growing soybeans over a whole growing season. And basically, we provide solutions along the whole path. We start with high quality genetics, which include corresponding biotech traits like herbicide tolerance or insect resistance. We coat that with seed coatings, with chemistry to protect from soil-borne diseases. And then over the growing season, we provide weed management, disease management, pest management solution, and accompany that with digital advice, digital insights, and provide recommendations to the grower to not only have strong productivity at the end, but also sustainable solutions that can actually be tracked, measured, and improve growing for the next season. But actually, the best example for a tailored solution was shown earlier in the very, very first talk. If you remember the picture of those cornfields, actually between 1940 and 2010. I actually stood in front of that cornfield 2 years ago that we planted like that. It's hugely impressive to see that, how over time we've been able to increase productivity and at the same time sustainability, because what you saw there was basically the 1940 field was not a cornfield if you look at it precisely. Actually, it was a field full of weeds, because that's why you could hardly see the corn, but there was corn in between. And what you see now is the same amount of corn grown on a much smaller acre, and that's what we're looking for when we look at tailored solutions, combining productivity and sustainability. And we do that. And we do this, everything what drives us along these four main pillars: innovation, science-based, sustainability, as I said, where we go beyond actually what's also required from us from a regulatory perspective. We actually ensure that our products have the highest safety standards, and we go beyond safety standards that are required in certain countries, certain regions. We drive digital transformation, the way we generate insights within R&D, how we do innovation, but also how we drive business models, digitally enabled business models, digital advice, combining the different technologies in a sustainable and productive way. And now, to build the other bridge to the LifeHub, an important pillar for us is, of course, collaboration. Not only internally, we collaborate across the different R&D functions, but especially with the external world. And these are some examples of what we're doing here. And this is leveraging open innovation in various different ways across the industry, across our different technologies. And we do this both for innovation in our core, so incremental innovation, getting better at the chemistry we find, getting better at improving the genetics, finding new traits, as well as for what I would call next generation or disruptive innovation, of which gene editing is clearly one part. Or another example, which is close to my heart, because those of you who know me know that I'm a chemist, where we're looking for new modalities in crop protection. And we do this with a number of different open innovation models. And you also see here, for example, Pairwise, which was mentioned earlier, which is our collaboration on gene editing. And you have many others. And this is actually, to bring it all together, what we're trying to do now also here from Monheim and use the ecosystem in Germany to bring together innovation, partnerships, scouting for new technologies, new product concepts, and combining that with advocacy, outreach, sustainability, not outrage, yeah, outreach, and sustainability, bringing all that together with societal dialogue. And with that, I hand it over to Raphael, who will walk us more precisely through what we're going to do here in Monheim.
Thank you, Axel, for the nice introduction. Thanks a lot for the introduction and framing our R&D activities in BCS. First of all, it's really great pleasure to be here and to hear science, honestly. I started in 2001 in a company as molecular biologist, so I can still follow some presentation, but I must admit that people are used to say that innovation is slow, but I can tell you, last time I discussed in detail this, it was in 2015, and looking at where we are now in 2022, that's super impressive. So now innovation is really fast. Regulation is a bit slower, so you must do something, Axel. But okay, from my side, I'm Raphaël Dumas. I have the true pleasure to lead innovation sourcing and partnership management in open innovation and strategic partnership of R&D in BCS. So today, I will show you briefly what we are doing in the context of LifeHub Monheim. First of all, why do we need partner? I mean, it seems to be obvious, but if you look at this slide, in fact, over time, initially, most of the innovation in the old age were coming from humans, from individuals. And then step by step, we moved from individuals to teams working on specific domain. And then step by step, it moved to transversal activities. We needed to have all those expertise. And now, if we had the social media, if we had also the data flow, all these worldwide innovations, this is non-stop innovation. So today the challenge is not anymore to access the data, to access innovation, but to filter innovation, right? To filter and select. So this is tremendous changes compared to 2 decades ago or 3 decades ago. So it means that as a company, we need also to change our operating model for collaboration, right? So we are moving from exploring internal capacities to partnering, and now working openly with all the partners we can identify in the world, not only the private partner, but also the public partners. So it means that as an industry, we move from doing a simple license to more bilateral collaboration, public-private partnership, and today, on top of the closed innovation that is related to IP, we are adding the open innovation. That is something that is not necessarily IP generation, but we need to partner with others, let's say, to create all those bridges across all those areas and perimeter of science. So now, doing a quick focus on open innovation specifically, we'll not go into detail of this slide, but what you need to keep in mind is that our goal is simply to be the ag leader in terms of open innovation and to be perceived as a partner of choice, not only to be perceived, but to be the partner of choice for the industry, but also for the academics and the public institutes. So we build, for 5 years already, many tools. And in our toolbox, we have different mechanism to leverage the crowdsourcing, to upscale what we are doing internally, and to focus sometimes on specific projects. Right? And we'll not go into detail, but we have our own programs for calls. We have also some financial mechanism to support those programs. And we are partnering with companies helping us also to leverage this program and to make the best use of those open innovation activities, because initially it was not our core. Of course, our competitors have also their own program, but our goal is clearly to be the leader in those open innovation fields. So moving on this slide, I just would like to illustrate, Axel show you concretely some clear collaboration that we set up. And I will say that it's coming from different origins. On the right part of the slide, this right part of the slide, you have what we call LIPS. You are probably aware this is the financial mechanism. This is the financial arm of Bayer, right? For not only for R&D and not only for crop science, but also for pharma. So LIPS is investing. This is a minority equity investment mechanism, and it is supporting us some action and taking shares in the most promising companies and early stage activities. Then we have, on the other side of the slide, we have our open innovation ecosystem with different programs, as I mentioned to you before. And in the middle, you have the LifeHub network. The LifeHub concept is not new in Bayer. We have LifeHub for life sciences. What we want to do now is also to develop a specific crop science network and to bridge with pharma where we can. So we'll come back on this LifeHub network. So, and why are we here today in Monheim? I mean, that's really interesting because we kick off this discussion maybe last summer, 2021. And for 1 year, we really discovered or rediscovered many opportunities in EU, in Germany, in NRW, in North Rhine-Westphalia, and in Monheim. So here I have just illustration of some contact that the team helped to create during the last year. Johan is here, I could mention Kuhn, Jürgen, and so on. So we established several contacts or re-established several contacts, and we also link with the Creative Campus in Monheim, because as you know, there is a specific initiative here to build startups, but also to incubate and to focus on the future in this area of North Rhine-Westphalia. Last but not least, you have also financial mechanism with Hightech Gründerfonds based in Germany. You have an NRW Bank. We are partnering with VIT for food as well. So all in all, the idea is to say, okay, in Monheim, in North Rhine-Westphalia, in Germany, in Europe, you have vast opportunities, and we were underusing those opportunities. So let's leverage those opportunities better in the future. On this slide, what do we want to do specifically with the LifeHub Monheim? So clearly, you are all aware that the Green Deal is initiated at the EU level. So what we want is to have the LifeHub Monheim helping Bayer to shape the agriculture in Europe for the future in the context of the Green Deal. Okay? And North Rhine-Westphalia and this hub will be a regional hub for Europe, right? And the idea is, of course, to do not do it in isolation, but to link with the existing LifeHub we have in EU, like in Lyon, in Barcelona, and then in the rest of the world with California, with São Paulo, and in APAC. So the idea is not to work in isolation, right? But to really place this LifeHub at the regional hub for EU, for the Green Deal, and then to bridge with the existing LifeHub in Europe and to bridge with the other LifeHub in the world. So moving on, very concretely, I told you we initiated 1 year ago the discussion, and believe it or not, yes, it's possible for a big company to move fast. It's really possible to move fast if you have a good commitment, if you have the good supporters, it's possible. And here's just a rough illustration on what we did for 1 year. With the operational planning, we hosted the first event in May here in Monheim. We defined financial mechanism and budget, the staff, and then today we are here at the official kickoff of the activities. Okay, this is not, of course, the real estate, because at the bottom of the slide you have some illustration here of how the LifeHub look like in São Paulo and Lyon. And in Monheim, we already identified a building in which we will stand. So it will be on the main entrance of the site. We'll have the whole ground floor of a big building, and we are currently working on the refurbishment of this building. Okay, so the target state is to work towards 23, 24. And waiting this time, we have an interim facility to host the activities. Because at the end, the building will be simply a location, right? But more importantly, and more than the location, we want to live this open innovation. And this is what we did already in 2021. Again, thanks to the fantastic job of the team, because everything was not existing 1 year ago, so it's just on top of their work, on top of everything. So they build everything from zero, from scratch. And here, this is just an illustration of what we did in 22 already and the planning. We hosted the demo day in Monheim here with EIT Food. It was a joint event in May. Then today you have this editing symposium, and we have the pleasure to use opportunistically this initiative to kick off officially the LifeHub Monheim activities. End of November, we'll have a joint pitch day organized with High-Tech Gronder Fund. I think Nikolaos is somewhere in the room, right? And early December, we have an internal innovation town hall with different open innovation collaboration that we have internally. So this is, in a nutshell, what I wanted to share with you. I'm seeing I'm really on time. We have still some time for the Q&A. And really looking forward 2023. I mean, it's a fantastic journey. And the more we are diving into this topic, the more we are identifying opportunities. So it's really great. I told you that the target state facility is not yet ready, but we have an interim location that is just 10 minutes walk. So after the event around 5, if you want to walk for 10 minutes, then you can join us. There will be coffee. Jürgen is here, so I did not forget to mention that. And I would like to give a special thanks, of course, to Jürgen, Koen, Johan, and all the team members who help us to build all those activities for 1 year, because the progresses were fantastic, and looking forward to 2023. I stop here.
Let's thank Axel and Raphael for sharing that with us.